So, welcome to another episode and a special episode of the Shadow the Apple podcast. And today we have our first guest on the show. So, we have my good buddy, former broadcasting partner Declan O'Rourke, and he is also a former and lifelong Mets fan. So, Declan, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Declan. I'm a huge Mets fan. Sort of came out the womb a Mets fan, and yeah,
So,
I'm happy to talk about this incredible franchise that we root for some reason.
So, we brought him in though because today's episode is going to be about this tier list that we saw that I wanted to talk about. This was created by SRS Stark Raving Sports, great channel on YouTube, and I thought it would have been a great topic to talk about. This is the official Lowell Mets tier list, and we have a huge list of amazing horrible incidents that the New York Mets have gotten themselves into since the creation of this team, because for whatever reason the Mets are just a very strange franchise. So we're gonna have two inputs of from Met fans and then one input from a non-Mets fan, Ryan, right here. So we're not gonna go through all these, but there's some that I just want to get into and just see how you guys feel about it. So the first one that I want to talk about is the 1969 New York Mets ceremony. So the incident that happened basically with that was in 2019, the New York Mets were wanting to honor an anniversary of the 1969 Mets, the first Mets team that won a World Series. And during the ceremony, they did a tribute to two players that were still alive. I don't remember the names of the players, but they did the tribute and did like a whole thing for them, even though the players were both still alive and well. And that is just a taste of what the Mets have gotten into in their history. So I don't know how you guys would rank that. I feel like that honestly belongs in S tier because only the Mets would fuck up something like that.
You mean like they did like an in memoriam thing for him?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think something the Mets do a lot is they don't pay attention to detail a lot. So I say that'd be an S tier moment to
Yeah, I would
pay to
definitely.
pay tribute like that to two players who are still alive.
Yeah, that's definitely an S tier moment for sure. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I agree. So, and then the next thing they have on here, I think they get the S tier right for the most part. The next one over there is when TJ Rivera, I believe this is during the 2017 season. TJ Rivera, they every time the Mets had like a player who stood out, they gave the player like a crown. And when they took a picture of TJ Rivera, next to the locker next to him, had a sex toy, and you could visibly see it in the picture, and it was all over New York Post. So there was a whole incident of Kevin Plawecki. I think it was Kevin Plawecki who had the sex toy in his locker room.
Man, I don't know. You can't rate everything in S tier, but like the Mets have always had locker room issues. I guess that was the one time the locker room was connected in a way. I guess you know.
Sure.
So
So that I think belongs to the S tier as well. Next we got next we got um Mr. Met flipping off a fan in 2017. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Um, that is definitely probably personally for me one of the top low Mets moments in Mets history.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most iconic ones too. I mean, you see that picture all the time. I'm not sure
yeah,
what the person in the suit was thinking, but it gave us a funny picture.
And it's even funnier when you consider that Mr. Met doesn't even have a middle finger. Like if you
yeah,
look at the picture,
I think especially considering that was such a like a bad period for the Mets. I mean, I think that was such a huge representation of, what everyone was feeling. We had, Pete, and we had DeGrom, and then that was it. And it's like, 2017 was like the season where everything, I feel like, sort of just, crumbled. Like that's
Yep.
around the time
Yeah.
that everything just sort of came crashing down, because 2015 was we're only 2 years removed from 2015, so we still had a couple of the guys, but at that point it was like we knew it was gonna come crumbling.
Yeah, this was the last year they kind of had that core. They kind of traded a lot of those core pieces from that
Yeah.
World Series team that year. So it definitely represented just how miserable that season was.
Yes.
Um, so the next one that I want to talk about, because you, before we recorded this, you were like, "Why is Cespedes on here twice?" So I'm gonna explain. So the first one that I want to mention is the one at the bottom. Honestly, at this point, they could both be one one on picture, because the first one is Yoenis Cespedes falling off, I believe, his ranch. It was
Yes.
either his ranch or his horse, but during the 2019 season, if anyone wants to confirm, they can help me. But in the 2019 season, the Mets were looking to get Yoenis Cespedes back after he missed pretty much all of 2018 injured. And when he was close to coming back, he fell off of his ranch and proceeded to miss the rest of 2019. So I think that that's up there, but this is probably not even the biggest drama to come out of Yoenis Cespedes, because after that, in 2020, Yoenis Cespedes, during a game during the 2020 season, the Mets were losing to the Braves, and Yoenis Cespedes gets taken out of the lineup before the game starts, and the Mets announced during the game that they don't know where he is. Like they think he's like missing. So during that whole game, people are wondering if Yoenis Cespedes is like missing. Is he like alive? And then they announced that he just like quit the team and was opting out of the rest of the season due to COVID, in quotations. And that was the last time we ever saw of Yoenis Cespedes, not just in a Mets uniform, but in baseball. After that, he had never played MLB baseball ever again after that day.
Wow. Listen, I love Cespedes. Cespedes is one of my favorite Mets from when I was a kid. Um, I mean, the ranch thing, he fell off a horse at his ranch. And I mean, that is just so indicative of just the Mets franchise and what could just happen randomly to their players for no reason. I mean, for a guy to fall off a horse and break his leg, and it's like breaking your leg is an injury, he's going to be gone for the rest of the season. Because breaking a leg, like for a normal person, it's a normal injury, but breaking a leg as like a player, there's so many things involved with the ligaments and the bone and just how it has to reheal properly, or else you won't be able to walk normally. That like that's just like, come on. And like he's not even really at fault. He owns the ranch. Man's allowed to ride a horse. He owns the horse. He's a millionaire. But it's just so unfortunate that it would only happen to the Mets. You don't. A Dodgers player would not fall off a horse and break their leg in the offseason. That wouldn't happen. That would only happen to the Mets. And then, I mean, the COVID thing, I feel like, okay, the ranch thing is probably S tier. I feel like the COVID thing is maybe like mid level. That might be like B or C, because although it's pretty funny that he was supposed to be in the lineup, it is normal for him to be like, I'm worried about COVID. I don't want to get sick. That is pretty normal. He
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
did it. He did it in the wrong way. He should have
the first
announced it
incident
before the season.
the first incident was definitely more obscure. That was in, I checked, May 2019. I think what's more funny here is that the same guy was involved in two different things on this list in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
yeah.
We miss all of him in 2018 because of injury, and then he falls off a horse, and we miss him in all of 2019. And then we're finally like, all right, finally Cespedes is coming back, and he we can't find him. He's disappeared.
Yeah, dude. Cespedes, dude. Cespedes will only, unfortunately, like as a Met fan for me per se, I will only really remember him for his good moments because and which were really only his first 2 years because after 2016 he really was just very non-existent. Like 2017 he was pretty on and off. 2018 I actually remember he came back against the Yankees. He played DH for one game because there was still the rule where pitchers would hit. So they brought him back for one game against the Yankees because he like was out pretty much most of he started the year in April, was out, played that one game against the Yankees, and then apparently like re-injured his like leg or something again during that game against the Yankees, so then was out again. So like every single time he got close to coming back, something happened. Every time.
Yeah. So I'd say the ranch incident is probably S tier, and then the COVID incident is B tier.
Yeah, I would maybe put that A or B just because like I think what made it at least S for them was the fact that like people just they just kind of Gary Cohen just kind of dropped it. He was just like, yeah, Cespedes is missing. Nobody knows where he is. Like they dropped it mad casual. It was so casual, and everybody kind of just was like, wait, what are we talking about? Like he's gone. I think the comedic part is the fact that he nobody knew where he was.
He's missing.
Like that he was like a missing like person.
Yeah.
So I would put it like for me that'd be like probably I think I would switch them. But next incident is the Mike Piazza gay incident. So I don't even know how this really happened or like how this truly came to be because this happened like obviously in the early 2000s. I wasn't really even alive. I was in my daddy's balls. So I I don't remember, but I think what happened was they got to the point where they did a press conference where he announced that he wasn't gay.
I
Wait,
believe it's because um I think one I think it's because they like just he just was very private. I think about like his romantic life. Like I don't think he was ever really seen with women or anything. Which I mean, you flip it to the other side of town, and you know the star for the Yankees at that point is Derek Jeter, who's sitting courtside with Mariah Carey. So they were probably
yeah.
like, "Mike, do something, please. We're losing the battle." Um, Also, I mean, no homo. Mike Piazza is a beautiful man. He's got very nice eyes, long hair. They were probably like, this this guy takes too much care of himself. He looks too good. Also, that just goes to show. I mean, like the old Italians in New York at that point were probably like, yeah, he's got to be gay. He's got to be gay.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy. He's got to be gay. Um, that's an all time. I mean, to organize a press conference, that's very. I mean, I can't believe we lived in a society at one point. We lived in a country where we had to do press conferences for guys to say, "I'm not gay. Please, I'm not gay." That's crazy. That's wild.
Um, Ryan, do you have any thoughts on the Mike Piazza gay incident?
Yeah, I have. I mean, this is just again one of the most obscure things in sports history, and of course, it was a New York Met. Like, I just don't. I don't even know how we got to the point that a press conference had to be had for that announcement.
Yeah, yeah, it's up there for me. I think they got the placing right, like, cause I it really shows just how different times were back then. That you had to literally come out and build a whole article. Media had to get whole involved about your sexuality. So that definitely is up there for me. Um, here's one I wouldn't agree with though. The Carlos Beltran tier is that is when Carlos Beltran was hired as the New York Mets in late 2019, but a few months later was fired because of the Astros cheating scandal that he was involved with because he was on the 2017 Astros and I believe was their DH. So,
Yes.
but the thing though, at least for me, is that like this technically wasn't because of the Mets. Like this happened because of the Astros and Carlos Beltran. Like this wasn't the Mets just being a stupid organization. So I would maybe drop that like a tier or two, just because this isn't. I wouldn't put that on the top of low Mets moments.
Yeah, I agree. I would drop that a little bit. It's it's not their fault, but again, it's just one of those things that's like if there was ever going to be a team to hire a player a few months before he gets exposed for a cheating scandal, it would be the Mets.
Yes. But also, I
Yes.
mean, yeah, that's because that's I mean, in no way is that the Mets' fault.
Hmm.
Beltron was the designated hitter for a team that just won the World Series in like spectacular fashion. They hit the ball, I mean, just incredibly well during that World Series, during that entire playoff run.
I wonder why.
And not to mention the fact that, yeah, well, they didn't know yet, but to the naked eye, you're going, oh, like, my God, these guys can hit. Not to mention the fact that Beltron also is, I mean, a Mets legend. So they're like, oh, yeah, we'll give him a job. So I don't think that's really the Mets' fault. That's like, that's like D tier. Of course,
Yeah, and
it
it's
would
crazy.
only happen to the
Mhm.
Mets, but
Yeah, and it's crazy because now they're retiring his jersey
yeah.
in September. So pretty interesting to see how just a few years can change things. Um, but the next one that I want to definitely talk about, and these will go hand to hand, is the Mickey Callaway and Jason Vargas incident. So if you look at that one picture right there at the bottom in D tier, which I think is just so hilarious, like just the picture is so stupid. So the context is Mickey Callaway was flirting with some female reporters, some Met female reporters, and sent some pictures, some explicit pictures to these reporters. But like, just like look at his face, bro. Like he's not smiling, he's not sad, he's just like angsty. And this is the Met manager of the New York Mets. Like, like the manager of a baseball organization, and he's just throwing out pictures like this. So I think this should be a little bit higher.
I mean,
It's because it's stupid. It's just so dumb.
it's so dumb, but it's not even that funny. Like, dude, like, committed a low key crime, you know? Like, and it's like, man,
I think I
again,
put it like I put it in C.
would only happen to the Mets. I mean, we're the only team where the general manager he was the general manager, right?
He was the manager, like the head
He was the
coach.
manager. Oh, he was the head coach. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know why I thought you said general manager, but I mean, we're the only team where the manager. And what season was that? Was that
This was the 2019 season because I think because Callaway was the manager for 2 seasons. So
okay?
I think this
Again,
was the
so
2019 season.
one of the worst seasons in Mets history. Okay, maybe not one of the worst, but still, like that season was riddled with
They were
issues.
bad in 2018, yeah. And
They
then
were pretty bad
2019,
in 2019.
yeah.
Um, and he's it's like, oh, that's why, because the manager is too busy flirting with female reporters to manage the team. Again,
Yeah.
only what happens to the Mets. I'd move it up to like C tier, B tier, but again, it's not even like funny. It's just like, dude, can we
Because
have
it's
like a normal? Can we have a normal manager, please? Can we have just like one normal season where we have a pretty unspectacular like 80 win season where it's like, yeah, we're bad, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Can we have
yeah,
a
they were
season where we're not bad because everything's just like burning?
yeah, they were an interesting team, the 2019 Mets. That team had a lot of fun players and a lot of fun moments, but like that team made you want to like put your head through a wall. But specifically
That
because
was
of how bad Edwin Diaz was.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz sucked. Wasn't that the Did Pete Alonso win the home run derby that year?
That was rookie Pete Alonso, yeah.
And it was the last year of the GOAT on the Mets, Todd Frazier. Huh? Come on.
Yo, Todd Father. Yo,
Got this at a thrift
Mets.
store for like $20.
Yo, you be
Maybe
finding some
less,
gold
probably
in
less.
that store.
Yeah, but yeah,
So next one, which also has to do with Mickey Callaway, was when Mickey Callaway and Jason Vargas engaged in a heated verbal confrontation against Newsday reporter Tim Haley in the clubhouse following a loss of the Cubs. Um, all he said to Mickey Callaway after the report was over was like "see you tomorrow," and I guess Mickey Callaway turned it and Vargas took it the wrong way, and he receives a reply with "I'll knock you the f out, bro," before being restrained. So this was early in the 2019 season. This was during June. This is they had a little bit of a June swoon, but literally Jason Vargas and Callaway literally tried to fight a reporter just because he said "see you tomorrow." And Jason Vargas was terrible. Like there, at one point, his ERA was like 7, and they actually traded him to the Phillies that year.
Yeah, it's not even like the comment was anything crazy. I mean, I don't even know. I'm sure in the context there could have been a way they could have misinterpreted that, but that's another just insane situation.
Yeah, yeah. I put that like I would probably put drop that one as well. Just probably like because it's not funny. It's just kind of dumb. At least the Callaway one was is kind of funny. Um, Next one is the Jorge Lopez incident. This is one of the most recent Lowell Mets incidents. This was during the 2024 season. Probably my second favorite Mets team that I've watched, behind the 2015 team. So this was during game one of a doubleheader during the afternoon in May, I believe. This was in May. The Mets were horrible. They had been horrible all month, and they were playing the Dodgers. Tyler McGill had a scoreless game. He hadn't given up any runs that day. Jorge Lopez comes in. They blow the game in extras. Jorge Lopez has a horrible inning, and during before he leaves, Jorge Lopez throws his glove out into the stands, and then after the game, he said that he was on the worst team in the MLB, but he I think he meant to say that he was the worst teammate on the MLB, and like when you listen to it, you can kind of hear it. But he also got a second chance to just to clarify what he said, and he did say um, that he meant what he said. So he was quickly DFA'd after that, and I think that truly was like rock bottom for the Mets that year, and I think that's why they put it at B tier because the thing about that team was that after that moment, they actually the opposite happened, where they good things and positive things happened after a Lowell Mets incident. Usually, when something like this happens, it gets worse and worse and worse. So, what do you guys think?
I think this was a great moment. This is one of the greatest moments in Mets history. It turned. I mean, he wasn't wrong. One of, if not the worst teams in the MLB into an NLCS team, which is just wild. But I remember this so much. You know, I wasn't watching the game, but I mean, listening to the fan and just them digging into the Mets because of this Jorge Lopez, some random tossing his glove into the stands. I mean, like what a loser, dude. And he got up out of there. And I mean, the OMG Mets were just the most special team ever.
This moment literally gave birth to the OMG Mets, if you really think about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, looking back, it was the start of something special in a way, but I mean, that's like an unheard of situation. A guy throwing his glove into the crowd, and then having those comments after. I remember when this happened, and I remember, everyone was like, everyone heard him say they were the worst team, and some people were saying, I think he meant to say teammate. And I remember I believed that. I was like, oh yeah, he probably meant to say teammate. And then he doubled down on it, and I was shocked. I mean, a lot of these on here, a lot of these stories I haven't heard before, and I'm shocked about them. But this one I remember very vividly.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, just like the whole of what he did, like throwing your glove. It was just so animated because like if you look at the picture, he like I'm gonna reenact it a little bit, but he was like, huh? And then it just like an animation, just like you could see the glove falling into the stands, and it just and like the backlash of like what Declan said, being listening to the fan and seeing people just just dig into the Mets, and because things were already bad, but then it just like reached a whole level of comedic when this happened. So I would maybe put that up a tier just because it did give birth to one of my favorite Mets teams. So then another one that I also wanted to mention, that I don't think I had mentioned yet, was the 1987 fight. We have a few more left. We're almost done. The 1987 fight. So if we go to next to the burning City Field, which will be the next one we cover, um, during the pictures at the beginning of the season that the teams make of like the whole roster, like the team photos, um, Keith Hernandez and Daryl Strawberry started throwing hands and got into a fist fight during the photo shoot. So I think this definitely is. I think probably in its right spot in the B tier because I think it's pretty. Because like, of course, something like this would happen.
I mean, yeah, they were probably both. I mean, high out of their minds, and it's a hot day, and they're taking a photo, and everyone's mad. That would happen. You put a bunch of, I mean, 20 something year old, baseball players who are all on coke out in the hot sun and force them to stand together. That's gonna make them mad. I mean, there was so many problems with that Mets team. I mean, Lord knows how the
Yeah,
hell they came together to win a championship. But I mean, they did it, and they were one of the best teams in baseball for a couple years.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I
This was
mean,
that's crazy. That and yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot to mention was that yes, they were all probably all on drugs.
all of them.
So it does make sense that something like this would happen. And this was after the '86 season, and that '86 team in general just had crazy problems. They were fighting people on the plane. They were smuggling coke on the plane. Like there are so many like crazy stories from the '86 Mets that probably went into the next season as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that goes into the right spot. So um the last three. So after this, we have the City Field on fire incident. That was when, during a road trip, City Field. I don't remember necessarily how, but City Field literally caught on fire, and City Field was like burning, near the gates. So, some kind of devil magic potentially, coming out of City Field. Maybe the Mets made a deal.
I don't remember
Maybe.
this one, but yeah, you got to question how that started.
Yeah, I don't I gotta honestly I gotta look up how it started because I remember when watching the video I don't think they knew either on how the fire started. So I'm not sure if it's like a mystery or something on how the fire got out there, but
Yeah,
um
maybe some frustrated fans. I don't know.
maybe
Definitely a good representation of the Mets post World Series
yeah.
on
So
fire.
the last two um is the raccoon incident. So this is I'd say these last two for last because they're just pretty stupid and just insane in its own right. So the Rat Raccoon incident basically goes out like this for those who don't know. Um, a bunch of Met players go running into the tunnel after Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil go into the tunnel together. And the way the players came out, like Michael Conforto, for example, the players came out like they saw a ghost. But the game they go on to win the game. Lindor, McNeil have their press conferences, and when they asked them what happened, Lindor's explanation was that he saw a city rat in the dugout and he brought McNeil to tell them. And McNeil was saying that it was a raccoon and they were debating between a rat and a raccoon. And just before I even explain the rest of the story, in the press conference and in the interview, you could just tell Lindor is lying out of his ass. So they stuck to their stories, and like I get the season played out as it did, but just that whole incident on if they did fight, did they not fight, what actually happens, this still being a mystery to this day. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think this one is just borderline ridiculous.
I feel like one day we'll definitely know for sure if they fought, and if they didn't fight, we'll probably one day for sure find out if it was a rat or a raccoon, if that's what really happened. But I'm thinking about it. Lindor's involved in a lot of situations with teammates.
Yes,
Kind of interesting.
he's always had issues with McNeil. Like if they've, I think there was some stat that said that they had the worst double play percentage when they played together. So they just were never like they never had good chemistry. Um, but I think this is just a ridiculous. But I think definitely what takes the cake, and this will be our the last one that I want to talk about is the Noah Syndergaard kid disease. So in July of 2018, Mets pitcher at the time was placed on the disabled list with a hand, foot, and mouth disease. The contagious viral infection, which is common in children but rare in adults, caused blisters on his hands and resulted in a loss of velocity on his fastball. So this illness, believed to he received it during a youth baseball camp and missed a portion of the 2018 season.
That's a great incident because, I mean, foot, hand, and mouth disease is called that. And the reason it's so common in young children is because it's a bacterial infection that you get from putting your feet and hands in your mouth, which is what babies do when they're teething. So for Noah Syndergaard, a grown adult man who pitches for the New York Metropolitans, to get foot, hand, and mouth disease. And I mean, a youth baseball camp makes sense. Like that puts it into perspective, but it's the same thing as like like the Sam Darnold mono thing. It's like how did you get mono? How did you get foot, hand, and mouth disease? You're a grown man.
Yeah, you
And
said this was
hands.
rare. You said this was rare for adults, and I'm
It
assuming
is
it's
pretty rare for
extremely
adults.
rare. I'm assuming it's extremely rare for professional athletes. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but like only a New York Met would have this happen to them, especially one at the top of their game.
Only a New York Met would get foot,
Yeah,
hand, and mouth disease.
I can't think of any other franchise that has like had really stuff happen to their players. Because like stuff could happen to like the organization stuff, but like there has been so much that like most of this stuff has to do with players that just got into some just bizarro like side quest, like Noah Syndergaard here. So I think that could probably get moved up higher to like the A tier.
Yeah, that's
But
incredible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
so obviously there was more, but those were definitely the ones I wanted to highlight. Those are the ones we wanted to talk about. Um, I'd say, I mean, this tier list really puts you in perspective just how wacky the Mets organization has been these last in their whole entire history. Because literally from top to beginning, they've just had stupid, stupid instances happen to them. What would you say though from this list? What would be your favorite moment from everything that we've talked about.
Um, maybe the Mike Piazza thing. I feel like I don't know. That's just so ridiculous. And that's something. I mean, like Mike Piazza didn't play that long ago. For him to, for him to have to tell people that he isn't gay, to have to confirm it, is just, I mean, ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous for a player in any age. But for a player, I mean, post 2000, to have to confirm, to have to come out and say I'm not gay. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say personally the ranch
yeah,
incident is pretty funny. Um, just because like out of all things for you to get injured by, you got injured like not trying to rehab, trying to play a game. No, you got injured at your own domicile. So that I
yeah.
think that takes the cake for me. Ryan, let me ask. So and now I gotta ask the non Met fan. What is the wildest moment from this list that we spoke about,
I don't know if it's the wildest, but my
or
favorite
your
is
favorite?
definitely the Mr. Met middle finger incident because I just feel like if you were to take one picture and just show anyone and be like, "This is the New York Mets," that would be the one.
Yeah, I respect that because that picture and meme has stood the test of time. Because that came out a while ago, and I still see this picture and meme all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely the most iconic out of all of them.
So, I think that wraps it up on this episode. I had a lot of fun talking about all these stupid things that the New York Mets organization and players have gotten themselves into. Um, Declan, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Of
Thank you.
course.
Great input of this tier list. So the next episode probably will be going into the next Mets series. I'm not sure when we'll just upload, but I believe if there's anything else you guys want to say, floor is yours.
No, that's it. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. So that will do it on this episode of Shadow the Apple. Once again, Ryan, Declan, and Dylan. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. There we go.